So today we're hearing from West Africa, some experiences from West Africa. So I'd like to welcome Tsuamba Bourgou, who's from Groundswell International, and Peter Gubbles is also here from there. Tsuamba is going to give us a presentation of some of the experiences in West Africa, holding water. And then he has invited Terre Verte to share as well some of their experiences. So thanks very much to Nassirou from Terre Verte, who will be presenting. His presentation will be in French, but Tsuamba will give us their slides, and Tsuamba will give us a summary in English of the slides. We are looking into Water School Africa is quite a new initiative, and we recognize that we will need to have interpretation on these sessions in the near future. So we're looking into that, and we need the right kind of Zoom account, and we need to identify how we do that interpretation. So we are looking into that. Apologies for not having it already, but it will be coming soon. And then we can hopefully get more people from Francophone countries as well. Okay, so I'm not going to say anything more. I'm going to hand over to Tsuamba to take it from here. Thanks, Tsuamba, for doing this, and over to you.
Okay. Thank you, John. May I share my screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah, please do, please do. Let's see how it works. If your connection's not good, then we can revert to sharing it.
Okay, can you see something?
Yeah.
Yep, it's there.
Okay. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to share what we are doing in terms of rainwater harvesting and management for agriculture. As John explained, we invited Terre Verte, represented here by Yerbanga Nassirou, who will also, at the end of my presentation, have their own work presented as a complementary work to what we are already doing. So I will try to keep my presentation within 20 minutes and allow him also use the remaining 20 minutes to present their work. Peter, I'm lucky you are here, and I'm sure when I got stuck in translation, you may help. Sorry, I didn't ask you earlier, but I'm sure you will not be reluctant to help me on that.
No,
Okay.
I can do that, and Steph is also there. I think she's more better than I in translation, but between the two of us, we can manage.
Okay, thank you very much. The experience I'm going to share is that of Groundswell International and its partners in West Africa. Groundswell is a network of in-country partners working in 10 countries, but today I will talk about West Africa, where we work with agroecological based in Senegal, NSD based in Burkina Faso, CICOD based in Ghana, and Sahel Eco in Mali. And about the context, I should say that the intervention areas are almost in the Sahelian zone, where food insecurity, malnutrition, and poverty are widespread because of erratic rainfall, mainly due to climate change, low fertility and depleted land, mainly due to inappropriate farming practices and irrelevant national agricultural policies. Here are some photos to illustrate what I've already said. Desert, with strong wind, raising very much dust, especially preceding rains sometimes. And the image below is about it's a way farmers use to clear lands and burn everything to prepare their rainy season. So this is one farmer we met while traveling in one area, and we stopped to discuss with him and understand why he's doing this, and also sensitize him on the bad effects he could meet due to this way of clearing land. So the other element of context. So most Groundswell International and its partner working area farming system is characterized by its strong dependency on rain. Because of that, agricultural production fluctuates along the rainfall, which is nowadays erratic. Rain starts and ends it or more and more unpredictable. And there often are sequences of drought and flood in the same rainy season. In addition to the rain shortage, there is also poor management of the rainwater, which limit the food production system ability to cope with the situation. And because of all that, many farmers households face food insecurity, which increases their vulnerability. Faced with this situation, Groundswell and its partners try to promote some agroecological innovation that have proven to be effective in the farming system, and especially about water sound management. This innovation are mainly what we call ZAI here: half moons, stone bands, water basin, and FMNR. Here are some illustrations of these technologies. And the first one is what we call ZAI, is the way of digging holes and putting manure, covering it slightly, and waiting for the rain to come. And this is the place where people will sow the grain they will grow. The half moon is another work where you dig the soil, put manure, and also wait for the rain. When it comes, it's capture.
Yeah, we've lost. Was it just me?
No.
No,
We've lost.
no, we've lost Tsuamba.
But he's still there because he's still sharing. Tsuamba, we've lost you. Can you hear us? Maybe you can, if you can hear us, you could put something on. Okay, so he's
gone now. He's no longer on the participant list.
Peter, can you carry on talking to it?
Yeah, I could, if you can show the screen.
Okay, I will share the screen. Just a minute.
So, yeah.
I'll just share the screen. Can you see that now?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can go to slide 5, I think we were.
Yeah, it was on the half moons.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can see the water that's been collected there in the half moons. And this is on land where there's usually a crust on the top of the soil. So the water doesn't penetrate very deeply. And then it's collected in these basins that you see, the half moons, that in which you then can grow crops on land that normally would be abandoned. Next slide. Now, this is another technique that has evolved in the Sahel and primarily in Burkina Faso. It's called stone buns. The stone buns are, they're permeable. The water can get through. So which means that what you have, again, on this, you can see the quality of the soil. It's not, it's not loose. So the water immediately starts running, almost like if it's on concrete. And it will flow and gather force and then erode the best soil off and runs off. So what these stone buns do is that they stop the force of the water. They're usually, depending on the slope, about 20 meters apart, 30 meters apart. And then they run into the stone buns. They hold back the water and the soil accumulates behind the buns that was being carried off. And then it percolates through and then starts running off to the next bun. And in that way, they maintain the soil, the water on the soil, and it gradually permeates into the soil because of these stone buns. And they're along the contour. Next.
Thank you, Peter, for continue presenting. I am back.
Okay, you go ahead, Tsuamba. I'm here. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can go ahead, and I go to next session. I will take over.
All right. So here we have another technique. It's agroforestry. It's called farmer-managed natural regeneration. On the land that you've seen, the landscape, you'll see a lot of these bushes that are indigenous trees that resist animals and fire. And they're just old stumps that have grown into clumps. And then here you have the process of pruning them so that it grows quickly back into a tree that can provide either fodder or fruit. But also it has a capillary action. The roots bring up it's called bioirrigation, that there's more moisture around the tree, believe it or not, that brings up, because of the roots and the capillary action, I'm not quite sure of the science behind it, but it brings up the moisture. So this is another way that not only prevents erosion, but it also helps around water retention in the soil, and adds organic matter as well. All the leaf litter that you see there helps collect the water. Next slide. And Tsuamba, you want to take over?
Okay, sure. So these are the main techniques and technologies we are using in the area of water catchment and management for agricultural production. And of course, it also recharged the water table. So in terms of effects, it improves farm yields. So these technologies increase soil water holding capacity and positively impact crop development and farm yields. Next, please. So this is some illustration how half moon hold water, and you will see apart from these holes, you will not see any green thing between the works. Next, please.
Sorry, Philip, can you enlarge the screen? It looks a bit small. It's a bit more impressive if it's larger. Can you do that? Or
let's see how I do that.
Peter, this one cannot be enlarged as the others because I copied somewhere else and pasted. I just try to stretch it, but I'm not sure.
I'll try
how we will.
Okay. I'm sorry to disturb it then.
No, no problem.
To run it.
We don't want to lose time, so maybe we just go back to the what you had there before, Philip.
No, this is,
Oh,
this is,
there you go.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, this is another example of the effectiveness of half moons. The type of soil is different, but the effects are almost the same. No grass elsewhere except in the half moons. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, here is.
No, you went went too far. He didn't see it fast enough. Go, there you go. Thank you.
Okay, the farming manage natural resources. The thing you see above, pruned by the farmer, some weeks later, this is how it will look like. And you see the trees in between the crops. It will help keep moisture and also reduce temperature and avoiding the soil to be compacted, and so water can still infiltrate. And also another way to combat the bad effect of climate change. It's the trees can play also windbreakers, the role of windbreakers, and also provide fodder for animals, etc., etc. But here the objective is to get a lot of leaves to mulch the soil from time to time and fertilize it while keeping moisture. Next, please. Okay, so sometimes there is no rain for a good deal of day in the rainy season, and crops still suffer, even in areas managed with the above-mentioned technologies. And farmers often complain that only 1 or 2 additional rain would have permitted their crop to get fully matured. This is why Groundswell and its partners started sensitizing farmers, especially in Mali and Burkina Faso, to try bigger water management works like rainwater harvesting basins. So below you will see Francois Lankwande, one of the farmer innovators in our intervention zone, who dug where he used to fetch, who dug a basin where he used to fetch water to irrigate his crop during rain shortage, and it is beneficial. Thanks to the basin, he was able to grow several varieties of vegetables which provide his household with nutritious and food and income. Next, please. So this is the following innovation, digging basin to capture water and manage it for to irrigate crops during hard time. Next. So the effectiveness of the water harvest system for agricultural production and household income let us continue encouraging farmers to adopt and adapt it. I mean the water basin to their own context. Several farmers who implemented water harvesting system and other management structure testify that some of their neighbors, after witnessing their benefits and or after having also benefited from it, or now interested in applying them. Benefits include increase of yield, diversification of production, and income. Next. So in conclusion, rainwater harvesting basin and other water management technologies are very beneficial. Therefore, Groundswell and its partner are committed to continue motivating farmers and communities to manage them. And we are looking for locations in our countries and beyond where farmers are applying the same principle of water harvesting and utilization for agricultural production through the same or through other scalable technologies for experience sharing and inspiration. Together with other interested stakeholders, we are working to raise more funds to support farmer communities improve and extend its implementation in its area. Next, please. So,
That's finished, is it?
okay, thanks for your attention. Okay, so it's in this attempt to look for organization implementing such innovations or technologies that help manage rainwater that we discovered. Terre Verte, the organization we invited to present their work today. I don't know if I should stop for one or two questions before passing on to Nasiru, or should I go straight to let him present and we will have the broad discussion?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea in case that we will go into broad discussion, but there may be one or two points about your presentation that people want to ask any questions or clarifications, or is anyone like to ask Tsuamba, or just keep it till later?
Or maybe Peter would like to compliment as we are doing everything together here.
Paul Quinn has a question.
I'm trying to find the little thing that says raise hand.
Yeah, you phrased it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the basins look fantastic, really, really good. And we can see that it's capturing that little bit of rain when it's raining. But I'm interested to know, where do you actually site the ponds? Do you actually use the topography to find where to put the pond? Or do you observe the rain so you can see where the water flows over the land? Or is it more random?
Okay. I think we are using both. Yeah. When we have the means and the technologies, we use topography tools to do the work. But not every farm will have the tools and the knowledge to do it. And we encourage them to just look at how the water flows and try to do something to that fits their context while waiting for training and other materials. We said anyone can do something at any time while waiting to get what we want. We do what we can do with what we have.
Great. Ferdinand, thank you. Well, thanks, Tsuamba. Ferdinand?
Yes, thank you for the presentation, Tsuamba. I just got an observation. Do you have any quality issue with the manure exposure on the half-moon structures? And when that also gets flooded when the rains come, what has been your observation on the soils on those structures? Thank you.
Okay. I'm not sure I fully understand, but answer it's not, if it's not responding to your question, you can resume, please. So we do not have challenge such as such, but when we see we organize the half moons, there's a way to put it in such a way that it do not increase the soil degradation, and in such a way that it can, when one half moon is full, the water go forcibly to another half moon and it showed the speed ongoing. And when you do this, within 1 year or two, the hard soil become smooth, and in some areas you can even cultivate without using half moon anymore. But it will depend on the type of soil. If you see the first photo where there's the crop is in the water, in that soil, it will take 2 or 3 years because before the soil become very smooth. But in the second one, where the sorghum is tall, in that one, you see even within the same season, the half moon was almost completed. So in 1 or 2 years, it will be, the land will be completely recovered.
Yeah, if I could add, Tsuamba, what people don't know is that there are vast stretches of land in many communities in the Sahel that have been abandoned, that the topsoil has been eroded away. There's nothing but a hard pan left. And some of these water harvesting techniques that you see are also a way to rehabilitate land progressive process. And of course, you need water. So we actually make use of the fact that it's hard pan, because then that multiplies the amount of water that falls if there's erratic rainfall in those small pockets. You know, there'll be 4 to 5 times as much water. If it rains 2 millimeters, there's 10 millimeters of water that fall into that concentrated zone. And then if you put manure there as well, or compost, just concentrate in that part, that retains the water so it doesn't drain away into the soil. So I think that those are all points that help slowly rehabilitate the land so the whole field becomes productive again through the trees coming back and the organic matter put in and the crop residues, and the land is rehabilitated or restored. So I think that's just a compliment to what Tsuamba is.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm looking at the time. I don't know whether we should go to...
Yeah, let's move on. No, I think let's move on. Please introduce Terre Verte and Nasiru.
Okay, so Nasiru, okay. So Nasiru is a representative of the Terre Verte here. I will let him introduce himself, saying what is his role in the organization. And then I think we will not take time to present Terre Verte because in the videos, it will come clearly what their organization is and does. So we can save time. So especially because we have to translate. If that works for everybody, I will call him and let him introduce himself. Is it okay for everybody?
Yeah, I think so. Let's do that. Unless someone objects. Go ahead, I think.
So, Nasiru.
Oui.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Alors, on va te demander de... Malheureusement, nous ne sommes pas ensemble dans la même salle pour que je puisse traduire tout ce que les gens disent. Mais de toutes les façons, comme j'ai parlé en français, j'ai su tout ce que j'ai dit.
Il n'y a pas de souci.
Comme toi-même, tu vas présenter, on n'aura plus besoin de te dire ce qui se fait. Et à la fin, quand il y a les questions, je crois qu'on va traduire maintenant pour que tu puisses répondre, comprendre et répondre.
Il n'y a pas de souci.
Voilà. Pour le moment, on va te demander de te présenter. Qui es-tu? Quel est ton rôle dans l'organisation? Et puis, avant de commencer.
Bien, bonjour à tous. Moi, c'est Nassirou Yarbanga. Je suis le directeur de la ferme pilote de Barga. Donc, la ferme pilote de Barga, c'est l'une des fermes pilotes Boukazé de l'ONG Terre Verte. Donc, nous sommes 5 fermes pilotes reliées à l'ONG Terre Verte. Donc, ces fermes pilotes appartiennent à des associations villageoises. Donc, je dirige l'une de ces fermes pilotes de Barga. Donc, vous verrez dans l'organigramme que je vais présenter plus tard.
Merci. My name is Nasiru Yerbanga. I'm the director of one pilot farm, and it's one of the 5 pilot farm managed by Terre Verte. And I'm going to present what we are doing through the presentation.
Voilà, donc je vais faire une présentation d'une première, de la trace écrite qui va introduire la vidéo. Donc, un peu rapidement. Donc, un peu, c'est le bocal sahélien qu'on présente comme ça. Donc, le bocal sahélien, c'est une technologie qui a été mise au point. C'est-à-dire, c'est un ensemble de technologies que l'ONG Terre Verte a mis au point à la fin pilote de guerre, donc vers les années 80. Donc, et cette expérience a été reprise dans 5 fermes pilotes dans la partie sahélienne du Burkina Faso. Donc, c'est un ensemble de technologies qui permet donc de récupérer les terres dégradées et avec pour premier objectif de garder l'eau de la pluie là où elle tombe pour favoriser le développement de la culture et la régénération de la végétation. Donc, ce qui fait donc la notion donc de transformer. Donc, le bocal transforme un paysage agricole en voie de dégradation. Donc,
okay. So, what they call bocage sahélien is a set of innovations, I mean technological innovation that help improve barren lands and turn it to a productive land. The main objective of these technologies is to keep all water that fall from the rainfall, to keep it in place so that it can help improve the soil and make easy to grow crop, even where the land is hard and barren.
C'est bon. Donc, la suite, on va descendre d'écran.
Next, please.
Next.
Okay.
Next, please.
Voilà.
Okay.
Voilà. Donc, c'est-à-dire, le bocal transforme donc un paysage et jadis donc dégradé à un paysage donc totalement restauré où donc on garde l'eau là où elle tombe, on intègre l'arbre et l'arbuste donc aux cultures et on discipline l'élevage. Voilà. Donc, c'est un peu les points. Vous voyez, donc, c'est le paysage que vous voyez derrière qui s'est transformé donc après quelques années d'embocagement, comme vous voyez.
So this place is the same as shown in the previous slides. And after a few years of working on it, it has been transformed into a productive land thanks to the strategies that allow them to keep water in place. Their slogan is any water that falls should maintain in place, and they integrate trees and also discipline what the animal raising to avoid wrangling animals and over pasture. Continue.
On continue.
Next, please.
Next, wait.
Next, please. Okay. Continue. Tu vois ça maintenant? Next, please.
Voilà. Donc, c'est une vue encore plus rapprochée donc, du paysage en période pluvieuse. Vous allez voir le mille qui se développe et la haie qui borde les parcelles. Donc, ça sera encore plus développé dans les films, tel que dit.
Okay, this is one close view of the sorghum in one plot, limited by a live fence. So he said it will be more illustrated in the field. Next, please. Next, please.
Voilà. Donc, ici, on va présenter les différentes étapes. Donc, comme nous sommes en milieu rural, donc ici, il faut qu'on respecte des étapes pour pouvoir donc, permettre aux gens de rentrer en possession. Donc, pour l'aménagement d'un bocage nécessite donc une demande d'agriculteurs. Donc, ce sont des agriculteurs qui mettent donc ensemble les champs, donc qui viennent donc déposer une demande à la ferme pilote. Donc, mais au niveau de la ferme pilote, donc, les techniciens se concertent et discute avec après la consultation des techniciens, d'aller voir, on organise des réunions publiques avec la population pour comprendre réellement leur niveau de besoin. Donc, si tout ça est fait, et puis on voit qu'il n'y a pas de problème maintenant, on se lance dans l'aménagement. Donc, on passe par l'arpentage et plus tard, on donne donc sur les bénéficiaires qui viennent donc distribuer les parcelles et maintenant, on fait l'aménagement en tant que tel. Donc, si on finit l'aménagement, la mise en place du dispositif, maintenant, on va à la mise en valeur. Donc, c'est là qu'on va utiliser des techniques agro-bioécologiques pour mettre en valeur le dispositif qu'on a mis en place. C'est patience. Voilà.
Okay. So he was explaining the way they work. Usually, let's say, they don't go to the village and just start working. They wait for people to consult each other, agree on the need of transforming their land, and come to their organization and ask for support. So when they get the, how do you say it? Peter, quand ils reçoivent la demande de l'organisation. Okay. When people...
When they get the request, yeah.
Thank you. When they get the request, they go to the field, and sometimes it's one village, sometimes it's several villages that consult each other and come to their organization. So they go and check whether it's a true commitment, and they check also the understanding of the farmers on how, what is their real needs, and to what extent they agree with each other, because it's a common land usually. So when this is okay, they go and divide the whole place into small plots, and they distribute it to the farmers, and then they start the implementation of the innovation, agroecological innovation. Okay, continue.
Voilà. Alors, donc, aussi, les techniques agroécologiques qu'on pratique actuellement au sein des bocages, c'est les ailes comme ce que vous avez présenté précédemment. Donc, les ailes pour relancer la machine. Et maintenant, donc, comme on aménage, quand on fait le lot, on fait un lot. Après l'aménagement, on aménage en lot en 4 parcelles. Donc, dans ces 4 parcelles, va nous permettre donc de faire une rotation culturelle après les premières années des ailes. Donc, et puis on fait du pâturage rationnel. Du pâturage rationnel, donc, c'est faire paître les animaux dans les champs en jachère, donc avec la clôture électrique. On met une clôture électrique pour empêcher et pour faire, on fait paître une partie aujourd'hui, demain on fait bouger, de telle sorte que les repousses ne soient pas empiétées par les animaux. Donc, en même temps, ça contribue à régénérer et à nourrir le bétail. Ça, on se comprend. Il n'y a pas trop.
Ok, d'accord. Donc, peut-être qu'il va falloir accélérer parce que voilà, comme ça, pour qu'on ait beaucoup de temps pour les questions.
Ok,
so,
donc,
they are implementing ZAI, as we already explained in our case. They also divide, when they allocate the pieces of land to the farmers, they divide one household lands into 4 pieces, and which will allow them to rotate the crop growing, and also having plots where they do not grow anything or other crops. And they say they also do rational pastures. It means that they organize in such a way that for the animal to graze one day or sometimes in one place, and then they move them to another place, and so on and so on, so to avoid over grazing the place.
Voilà, donc
So
c'est la partie que vous voyez. Donc, périodique, voilà, on peut continuer.
Next, please.
Voilà, système de rotation que vous voyez. Donc,
okay, this is the plot. They divided in 4. 1 is sorghum, 2 is millet, 3 is fallow, and the 4th one is groundnuts. So the arrows indicate how they evolve. Okay, next, the pasture.
Rationnel dans les assets.
Okay, so the fallow land is where they keep the animals. Continue. Next, please.
Donc, pour parvenir, donc, on se repose sur l'association. Donc, Terre Verte elle est positionne de la technologie. Et donc, pour travailler avec nous, les villages se mettent en association. Et donc, ils adorent notre idéologie. Et c'est par eux maintenant qu'on met en place des fermes pilotes. Donc, ce sont des fermes, à partir des fermes pilotes qui nous permettent d'expérimenter et d'aller donc et mettre en valeur et mettre en place donc l'ensemble des technologies que nous avons. Donc, notre siège, c'est la ferme pilote. Donc, tout cet ensemble-là, donc dans un jeu d'interrelation entre les travailleurs de la ferme pilote et les associations intervillageoises.
So they are working with village associations. They have their pilot farm where all the agroecological innovation are implemented, but they work with the village, several villages organized into associations, and their interaction between the pilot farm workers and the village associations in such a way that they can implement, let's say, adopt and adapt to their own context, what they see in the pilot farm. Next.
Voilà, c'est une association intervillageoise en réunion que vous voyez.
So this is a meeting of inter-village associations. Next, please.
Voilà, donc voici les différents ouvrages. Donc ça, c'est la tranchée qui borde pour installer donc la clôture. Ici, ce sont les mares. Donc dans chaque sens, il y a une mare qu'on creuse au point bas, donc pour éviter les inondations. Donc ça, c'est l'implantation donc des grillages. Et on taille les arbres donc pour que donc ça soit bien structuré. Et ici, c'est la production des arbres à la pépinière. Ici, donc, c'est un conseiller, et, comment dire, un animateur qui conseille les bonnes pratiques aux paysans. Voilà. Donc, voici les présentations qui nous avons.
Okay, here are the main activities they are doing in the farm. Above, on the left, you have, how do you call it, a trench where they will put the fence. And in the middle, you see the pond they are digging to collect the water in the farm to make sure they avoid flooding the crop. And on the right, the man cutting trees, this is their way to manage the live fence to keep them grow as they want it to. And below, on the left, you see people growing trees. It's a tree nursery. They are planting seeds in some plastic buckets filled with land, sand. Okay, in the middle, you see how they plant, they put the fence, and in both sides of the wire mesh, they plant trees so that it can make it solid, and in case the fence is destroyed, the trees can take over. and it also be a license for them to play the role of windbreakers and other beneficial things. And below, I mean, in the right, the last picture is a rural extensionist explaining to a farmer how to implement agroecological innovations. Next, please.
Voilà, ici, c'est l'organisation de Terre Verte. Donc, au centre, nous avons Terre Verte qui possède la technologie, recherche et financement. Et donc, travaille donc, à l'organigramme, c'est-à-dire la question administrative est gérée par Terre Verte. Et donc, et qui, en lien, donc, c'est-à-dire, les fermes pilotes, c'est un peu la photocopie de Terre Verte. Donc, nous, on prend donc la technologie au niveau des fermes pilotes, on travaille donc à remettre aux paysans. Donc, voici les zones d'action directement au niveau des communautés villageoises. Donc, on fait les boulis, on fait les routes boisées, ainsi de suite, les infrastructures sociales du moins. Et pour l'aménagement des champs, donc, les gens se mettent en conformité et on travaille. Et on fait aussi des aménagements directs, voilà, des individuels, des jardins pluviaux qu'on aménage. On fait des formations donc qu'on appelle donc l'animation individuelle. On rencontre des gens dans les champs et on leur donne les bonnes manières de faire sans passer par le bocage. Donc, c'est un peu ça. Terre Verte, après les Terres Vertes, donc nous avons les 5 directement qui agissent sur les 5 associations villageoises et nous maintenant on agit donc sur les communautés qui se trouvent donc dans nos milieux. Merci.
Okay. This picture explain how they are organized. In the middle, you have Terre Verte is at the center of everything. I think it's the first column. They work through inter-village association, and they are implementing the various innovation he already mentioned in the previous slide. And Terre Verte is in charge of mobilizing funds and managing funds, and they develop technical expertise, and they also keep purchase materials in case of need, and so they put, I mean, the technical side of the thing is developed by Terre Verte, and they also raise funds and manage it on behalf of their network, and they try to replicate what is done in the pilot farm in 5 other villages. In green, it's the names of the new places where they replicate the same thing, and the farmers come in those places to work together, but they also work with individual farmers, training them on what they are doing. Apart from, not everybody may be part of the village association and be part of the pilot farm, so they also share innovation and ideas with isolated farms. Okay, you can continue. Next, please.
Voilà, merci pour votre attention.
So this is what they are doing, but they have the film that can illustrate, recapitulate all this. So please, do you have the film?
No.
Yeah.
If I don't have the film. If you want to share and play the film, Nasiru.
Okay. Tu as le film avec
Oui,
toi?
j'ai le film, oui.
Tu peux partager?
Oui, je vais lancer pour voir. Bon, je ne sais pas si vous me suivez.
Nous sommes au Burkina Faso, précisément dans la région du plateau central, qui est située dans la bande soudano-sahélienne.
Est-ce que
l'explication annuelle
ça ne vient pas? Tu as appuyé Partager l'écran.
Ah, ok.
Regarde, partager l'écran en vert.
Ok.
Il y a une flèche verte.
Oui, je vois.
Appuie ça.
C'est bon? Ok.
Regarde quelque part, ça va mettre partager encore, tu appuies.
Partager l'écran.
Oui, tu as déjà appuyé ça. Il y a encore par où c'est écrit partager, ça doit être en blanc ou quelque chose comme ça, appuie. C'est une notification.
Ah, je vois, je vois.
Voilà.
Donc, c'est bon?
OK. Maintenant, c'est bon.
C'est bon, j'ai pu lancer.
Yeah.
OK.
Does everybody see?
Yeah.
Nous sommes au Burkina Faso, précisément dans la région du plateau central, qui est située dans la bande soudano-sahélienne, où les précipitations annuelles varient entre 600 et 700 mm, avec quand même des variations intra- et interannuelles fortes, où aussi on a des terres dans la majorité en voie de dégradation ou même certaines dégradées, où rien ne pousse, qu'on appelle zipélé. Cette dégradation est en partie due aux activités de l'homme et aussi au surpâturage qui est mené par les animaux. L'agriculture dans ce milieu est caractérisée par une agriculture vivrière qui est menée sur des surfaces allant de demi-hectare à 3 hectares par article familial. Et ce qui est produit, c'est des céréales, le sorgho, le mil, et des légumineuses comme les arachides, les haricots. Et aussi, les familles disposent plus ou moins de troupeaux, de bovins, d'ovins et de volailles. En termes de rendement, on a remarqué une baisse considérable depuis les 60 dernières années, de 2 tonnes à l'hectare environ, à moins d'une tonne de nos jours. Ça a pour conséquence en fait une sorte d'insécurité alimentaire au niveau des ménages. Et une autre conséquence, c'est le déplacement des jeunes des villages vers les villes ou d'autres pays, et aussi vers les sites d'orpaillage où ils espèrent avoir des conditions de vie meilleures. Face à toutes ces difficultés, l'agroécologie s'avère une solution pour pouvoir mieux vivre en milieu rural. Certains paysans pratiquent l'agroécologie de façon parsemée, mais au niveau des fermes pilotes de l'ONG Terre Verte, nous avons développé une solution qui est d'intégrer tous les aspects de l'agroécologie en un seul lieu que nous appelons le périmètre bocager. Alors, nous sommes dans le périmètre bocager de Tankouri et au point bas d'une de ces parcelles où, après quelques jours de pluie, la mare est presque remplie. Voilà, pour montrer effectivement que le périmètre bocager, son principe de base, c'est de pouvoir garder l'eau de pluie dans la parcelle, grâce donc à la diguette et aussi à la haie vive. Donc, s'il n'y avait pas ce dispositif-là, toute cette eau qui est recueillie ici irait à l'extérieur et puis ça ne pourrait pas servir en fait aux plantes et aux cultures. Le périmètre bocager est idéalement aménagé sur des terrains en voie de dégradation ou des terrains déjà dégradés avec les IPL, surtout. Comme il est sur une surface souvent assez vaste, donc on crée par là
augmenter le volume.
Okay. To leave time for questions.
C'est un des éléments importants du périmètre bocager parce que c'est elle qui permet de garder l'eau de la pluie dans la parcelle. On s'est inspiré de ce que les paysans faisaient dans le temps pour l'intégrer dans notre système d'aménagement. La digue, avec le temps, elle va s'éroder, elle est appelée à disparaître et elle va être renforcée par la haie vive, qui va permettre entre autres l'infiltration de l'eau. Le fait d'avoir pu associer la digue et la haie vive, c'est ça en fait notre apport dans le système de captage de l'eau de pluie dans les parcelles. Dans le périmètre bocager, chaque famille dispose de 4 champs pour favoriser en fait la rotation culturelle. Au total, chacun a 2,56 hectares à cultiver. Et chaque champ a une longueur de 160 mètres et une largeur de 40 mètres. Les études ont montré que pour empêcher l'eau de ruissellement de prendre de la force, de prendre de la vitesse, il faut pouvoir l'arrêter au maximum à chaque 50 mètres. Donc, nous, on a choisi donc de faire 40 mètres pour avoir en fait le carré de 160 par 160 là. Nous, on peut faire pivoter ces parcelles selon la configuration des pentes.
Yarabanga, tu peux avancer un peu?
Dans l'axe de chaque parcelle, il y a, attention, à travers donc la présence également des arbres de signalement.
C'est bon comme ça?
Voilà, il y a un trou et qu'il faut faire attention.
I think that's
À
enough.
travers donc, la présence de ces arbres-là,
C'est bon
on était
d'avancer vers la fin.
dans le périmètre bocager qui agit.
Pour qu'on ait le temps pour les questions.
Est renforcée par une haie vive.
D'avancer toujours?
Donc, la clôture en fait est insérée entre deux lignes d'arbres. Et c'est ce système-là que nous appelons.
Oui, d'avancer toujours?
Oui, un peu. Comme il n'y a pas quelque chose de nouveau.
OK.
Une réunion va être organisée au niveau du centre et s'il n'y a pas de soutien ou bien du village des demandeurs,
Je pense que le temps de discussion est arrivé.
Voilà, se rassurer sur comment est-ce qu'ils se sont entendus et s'il n'y a pas de souci.
Il faut aller carrément à la fin, s'il te plaît.
OK.
On part à l'étape suivante. Les personnes qui vont cultiver dans la génération des équipes après tous les travaux de creusage et autres.
OK. C'est bon?
On réalise des économies d'échelle.
C'est bon?
Yeah, thank you.
OK.
Yeah.
OK.
If
Merci.
you stop share.
Tu peux arrêter le partage en cliquant sur l'écran encore, là où on a mis partager.
OK.
Arrêtez le partage.
Okay, so merci beaucoup, Yasuru. It's really, really interesting.
Sur arrêter le partage.
Arrêter le partage.
Working in a fairly extreme situation, that's for sure.
Okay,
so thank you very much. Let's move it now into discussion, questions, comments, anything that relates to you, anything that it makes you think about. I mean, when I was looking at it, thinking, here where I am, the situation isn't as extreme as that, but it could get like that in places. So I think we would need to learn a lot from how people are surviving in the Sahel. I think there are skills there being developed, surviving in very extreme situations that could be useful elsewhere if and when climate change kicks in more. Tsuamba, I was just wondering what kind of rainfall, I know it varies from year to year, but what is that area where Terre Verte is, or the areas that you were describing? What is the range of rainfall? What is the average, and what is the kind of rainfall you get every year? Just to give us an idea of that.
Okay. Yes, I think at the place of Terre Verte, they said it's about 600 to 700 in their place there. In the place where we work, it's most or less the same. It's average 600 to 700. In severe years, you can get even less than 500, but very rarely above 800.
Okay, so it's sort of fairly similar, but I guess it's also, we have to take into account that it's very hot there. So evaporation is going to be quite high.
But anyway, since he's here and I can translate so that he also can participate. Nasiru.
Oui.
La pluviométrie dans votre
la moyenne, c'est entre, comment dire, c'est entre 300, 400, 500 mm d'eau, voilà, par an. Donc, les maximums sont autour de 600 mm d'eau. Voilà, en période de bonne source. Voilà.
Okay, so I misunderstood. He said 300 to 600.
So it's quite variable, yeah. I can
How much
imagine.
in a day Tsuamba falls?
Say it again, Philip.
How much millimeters in a day? Paul has asked in the chat.
Yeah, examples of the kind of a heavy storm. What do you get? What's amount of
on a
rain?
wet day.
Okay.
Oui.
Ça veut dire en une journée,
Mhm.
la quantité de pluie qu'on peut avoir, on pourrait avoir en une pluie.
En une pluie.
En moyenne.
La moyenne, en une pluie, il peut arriver. Bon, je vais rapidement. Je peux voir mes sources ici, non? Rapidement pour vous donner des informations plus sûres.
Bon, c'est juste des exemples pour permettre aux gens d'avoir une idée, même si ce n'est pas précis, ce n'est pas grave.
Ok. Si c'est ça, bon, nous avons des pluies atteignant les centaines de millimètres d'eau par jour de pluie.
Combien?
Voilà, c'est 100 mm d'eau par jour de pluie. Voilà, le maximum. Voilà, sinon c'est 50 mm d'eau et 60. Sinon, ça atteint. Il y a des saisons où on a des pics de 100 mm d'eau par pluie.
Okay, so it varies. Some days there's days when they get 100, but some other days they can get 50 and something. It happened that they get that quantity of rain daily.
Great.
But,
so we've got. Sorry, go ahead, Samba.
Yeah, I wanted just to complete. Somebody asked earlier, where do we dig the water catchment basin? And in there, he explained that in their experience, it's the lowest place of the land. This is where they dig the pond to collect the water.
Yeah, I think that came out on the. It's quite flat land, but obviously there's a slight gradient. Maganizo, please go ahead. I hope I pronounced your name right.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe before I jump into like putting my question and my comment, I have some reanalysis data on like satellite observation, especially for the Sahel region. I can quickly just show you some quick plots on the precipitation variations, both as normalized, where you compare with like the amount of water that is going to be total water availability in each grid cell, as well as how the transient changes across time. So like if you compare like from 19, I don't know if I can share my screen.
I'll have to make you co-host. Oh, you've done it.
All right.
It's worked.
So like just a comparison of for this specific region, like you'd see from era 5. So this is like the European Research Association data set, and these are both like observation and reanalysis data set. You can see like the variation in terms of the precipitation across this region. So I think it's more the from 10 degrees north to somewhere around like 14-ish. So these regions, precipitation variations are sort of like in this transient. And when you look at it in terms of like the warmth and weight, like surface temperature, normally you find that the heat, there is a high potential evaporation like in the regions. So meaning that the air in the atmosphere is more water consuming than it is that keeps the capacity. And being a Sahel region, I think is the fluxes between evaporation and water availability is very high, that you can have times where you have like heavy rains that can lead to more like heavy rain in a very short space of time and a prolonged period of drying. So I've been trying to do some research to understand like how long is the rainy season or the cropping season, which I'm still doing. But now jumping into what I wanted to ask a little bit about all the case studies, I think the presentations are really amazing, and some of the work that you're doing is really amazing. And I'm also quite adamant to sort of like learn on your experiences as well as like the cases that you're doing. I'm just curious to know if some of these case studies have been documented or there's been like work behind it, because I know of a few cases that I've also been following that are being done by Stockholm International Water Institute, the SIWI, and also some that are done by certain university, University of Florence in Angola on rainwater harvesting. So I'm sort of like in the process of trying to come up with the right research question as well as right case study that can best document these rainwater harvesting, more targeting in the area of encouraging like either policy as well as financing in rainwater harvesting, so that it can encourage like agricultural production, considering that Africa is heavily rain-fed, agriculture dependent. So I'm just curious on the documentation part of it.
Okay. Nasiru, bon, tu viens de voir comme moi qu'il a présenté la variation de la pluviométrie selon les années dans notre zone, ce qui est très bien. Mais il finit par poser une question, quel est le niveau de documentation de tout ça pour partager comme un moyen de persuasion pour les gens de savoir les travail efficace qui se passe ici pour motiver le soutien international à ce que nous faisons. Est-ce que tout ça est documenté à travers des études?
Oui, bon, nous avons des rapports que nous effectuons. Bon, chaque activité a accompagné des rapports annuels. Et récemment, donc, à Gué, donc, il y a une étude donc, menée par un groupe, comment dirais-je, un groupe où on appelle un groupe de choses, un réseau de chercheurs donc, qui a mis en place donc, une étude sur la qualité donc, de la restauration des sols. Donc, on a évalué la qualité et du niveau de restauration des sols et puis donc batailler, donc dans un projet batailler. Donc, ça nous a permis donc de faire disponibiliser ces études-là, la qualité du sol, l'apport des arbres dans la restauration des sols, ainsi de suite. Donc, ces documents donc, existent.
Okay.
Donc, plusieurs études ont été faites. Les rapports sont permanents. Et,
so they have, they make yearly reports, and recently they also have a research network that come to study the level of improvement of the soil and the effect of the trees in soil health. So this study is also available. This is just some example. And I will add that on the area we are working, I mean Groundswell International, we are in the eastern part of the country, while Nasiru and Terre Verte are in the northern part of the country. So we are separated about by, let's say, average 300 kilometers. So in our area, the eastern part, we also have documented some of our experience, and Peters is leading most of these studies, so he may jump in and give some share some information and insight. Peter?
Yeah, we are documenting, but I have to say that we emphasize more the work of how to mobilize communities, the process by which you consult in a participatory way with communities to get them to be organized, and then to find out from their own perspectives what they see as the advantages and disadvantages. We don't so much go into the really detailed scientific work that I think you are asking about, you know, the sort of data points that you are asking for. And we do that sometimes. We have some, we did a major independent study by the, what is it, the land Chumba, help me, our Altus proposal. Anyways, it was financed by the GIZ.
Altus Impact.
Altus Impact, right. And, but usually that's not within our own capacity. And we have to call in outside organizations that are more interested in the more deeply scientific. We are more involved in the community level or organization, process, benefits, impact assessment from the perspectives of farmers and their families themselves. That would be my answer. Chumba, am I capturing that right?
Yes, but I may add that we have one PhD study on soil health, the contribution of all this, especially of trees, FMNR trees on the soil improvement, organic matter, and what they call microbiology, you say?
Yep.
So
Bioirrigation.
Yeah.
Bioirrigation.
So
Okay.
c'est la microbiologie et la macrofaune du sol.
Oui.
Okay. Sorry, the microbiology of the soil organisms and how they differ from places that are under agroecological management compared to where they are not. That's a PhD study that we have done.
Okay.
Great. I hope that helps you a little bit, Maganizo.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a linking up that could happen, because Maganizo, you with the Swedish Resilience Center, aren't you? The
Yes.
Stockholm Resilience Center. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a useful link up there, but it'd be nice to link with you anyway. Any further questions, comments, reflections from anyone before we've got about 10 minutes to go? Yes, please, Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, I still haven't found the raise the hand icon yet.
That's fine.
About 20 years ago, 25 years ago, in Britain, I called that every field should have a pond in it, you know, and now I've just seen the example where every field has got a pond. So fantastic. It's good that Africa is first again. But my question is really, I think some people have touched upon it, about the water balance over the year and how sensitive it is to very small changes in rainfall and evaporation. So you sometimes can get, as a previous person said, Manganizo, that you can get more rain, but you may end up with more drought because of these slight changes in rainfall. So I'm very interested to know what is the dynamic of, on the days when it does rain. I mean, how long does the pond stay around after it stops raining? Does it stay around for a week or a month? How quickly does it evaporate? And do you deliberately let the water infiltrate into the soil, or do you try and keep it impermeable in the pond? So do you have any evidence of a groundwater table in the soil? These are all just like basic questions that as a hydrologist would ask.
Okay. Yarbanga,
Oui.
il dit qu'il est content de voir que dans chaque champ, vous avez une petite mare, parce que lui, il est convaincu pendant plusieurs années, et plus de 20 ans avant cela, il expliquait que chaque champ devrait avoir son bassin. Et il voit que ça, vous l'avez fait, il est content pour ça.
Oui.
Maintenant, la question, c'est est-ce que quand il arrête de pleuvoir, le bassin, l'eau peut durer combien de temps? Ça, c'est la première question. Deuxième question, est-ce qu'on met quelque chose pour maintenir l'eau et empêcher que ça s'infiltre, ou bien on laisse infiltrer? Voilà.
Okay. Bien. Premièrement, la capacité la durée de l'eau du bassin dépend toujours de la nature du substratum. Voilà. Donc, si le substratum est dur, l'eau dure, et si le substratum est un peu molle, l'eau s'infiltre rapidement. Donc, il y a des bassins qui ont l'eau jusqu'après même la récolte. Voilà. Voilà, donc on se dit, on ne stabilise pas. On ne stabilise pas. Notre objectif, c'est de garder l'eau pour éviter les inondations et en même temps profiter et ravitailler la nappe phréatique. Voilà, donc travailler à l'évaporation et éviter les inondations. C'est les trois objectifs. Éviter les inondations, car on n'a pas eu idée de stabiliser pour garder l'eau.
Okay. So the duration of the water after it rains depends on the type of soil. For some soil, it lasts, or in the sandy soil, it can't last. But he said you may find some basin that hold water even after they finish cropping. It means more than 1 month. But in some other areas, it's seep very quickly. And they don't stabilize the bottom of the basin because their intent is to recharge the water table and also avoid flooding the land. So this is why they do not protect from seeping.
Tsuamba, if I could just add just a quick point from our own groundswell experience. I mean, it's not just holding the water in whatever way, it's also trying to enable the soil to keep the water. I mean, not the pond, but as you probably all know, the percentage of organic matter in the soil can double or triple the amount of water that's held after a rain. And you can have all the rain you want in the world, but it seeps away quickly if there's not very much organic matter. So part of the overall strategy is to increase the organic matter from maybe 1%, 2%. While we could get 2%, I think most of us would be happy. 0.25%, 1% to 2%, double it, and we double the amount of water being held in the soil itself, not just recharging the water table. And that is available for crops. And I think that's part of the overall strategy that we all need to be thinking about in addition to water harvesting.
Yeah, and thank you, Peter. And in one of the picture I presented, you see the water basin there. It's paved by stones. So it means we slow down the water seeping to make water available for crop. When there's shortage of rain, we can irrigate, but we do not cement it to allow infiltration. So it's a way of managing it both for infiltration and for cropping purpose. And the half moon zai and the other innovation I presented is what Peter was just explaining, to increase the water holding capacity of the soil so that it be available for the crops even during hard time. And for general pictures of the rainfall in our country is 8 month drought, dry season, and 4 month rainy season when we are lucky. Other ways, it may be 1.5 months or 2 months, and the other months are drought. That's the situation.
Yep, it's an extreme situation, that's for sure, that you have to deal with. Thanks so much. We're getting to the end now. We will end on the half hour because we like to stick to that time, knowing people have got to move on. Any final quick question or comment from anyone before we close up? I think for me, really interesting, some very strong visual images and really encouraging what you're saying about it's step-by-step reclaiming of land that's been badly degraded. So the half moons, and then gradually it's getting better and better. So there's a lot of hope in what you presented, I feel, from a really tough situation. If there's nothing more, just to say thank you very much to Tsuamba and Peter from Groundswell, and to Nasiru Yarbanga from Merci Beaucoup from Terre Verte. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of you for your patience in listening. It's a little bit difficult, and thanks to Tsuamba for translating. So you've had a real heavy dose here. It's a little bit difficult having the translation, and we will move towards having simultaneous interpretation. But it's really nice to have the Francophone element starting to come into the Water School Africa, and we need to reach out more. So we will be working on making sure there's a simultaneous interpretation. So thanks so much to everybody. And just to remind those who came later, if you'd like to be on the email list and you're not, and you heard some other way, then please put your email in the chat, and then we'll make sure you're added, and you will definitely get and hear about the announcements. And our next presentation will be first Tuesday of May at the same time, and we'll be heading much further south to here in Zimbabwe, and we'll be hearing about the life and legacy of Zephaniah Phiri and the work he did around, and his inspiration of many people, and some of the very sophisticated systems at a community level he developed. So we'll be hearing that from Mwande